Hey, Groovy Kim here. Again, getting a lot of questions as to what I mean by avatar when I've been talking about this subject in my videos. What I mean is, you are a vibration that has manifested out of the quantum field, and you are having a human experience. Your body is a quantum computer that is an avatar. And you are the CEO of it, and you get to control it. You only have it for a short while, and some of us make our avatars very happy and healthy and have a nice long life with it and really enjoy it. Others have a lot of pain and suffering. Come to find out, when you study quantum physics, you begin to realize that everything in the universe is literally a vibration. When you look at it at the atomic level, it's the electrons and the photons, and they all carry information. And the universe is like a big cauldron that things are bubbling and boiling and manifesting and coming and going, and all of these vibrations are entangled, and it's like a giant symphony in the universe. As above, so below. Remember that. As above, so below. Meaning, have you ever noticed that when you look at celestial beings like planets, solar system, they kind of resemble our cells and our atoms, don't they? As above, so below. Now, we know that there is actually harmonics in the universe. It is actually a symphony. You can listen to it. It's a vibration. It's a frequency. Your avatar, your body, is also a frequency, or many different frequencies. And it's a giant symphony on the atomic level, on the molecular level, on every level. There are all these different symphonies going on, all these different harmonics going on at the same time. And if any of those harmonics or vibrations are out of tune, then your cells are not vibrating coherently. And that can cause dis-ease. Literally, the cells are vibrating incoherently, and we call it a state of dis-ease, which translates into disease. All diseases, all inflammation are due to these incoherent vibrations. So now that we know that, we can learn to be a better CEO of our avatar. We can learn to vibrate it more coherently. And simple things like being happy and gracious, humble, carrying a smile on your face when you walk around throughout your day, all of these things help your avatar to vibrate coherently. I'm living proof. You might wonder, well, okay, if all of this incoherent vibration, meaning if you're giving your avatar a daily dose of stress or anger or frustration, all of those vibrations can be measured, and they're incoherent. They're like this. They're all over the place. They're not nice and coherent like love and gratitude. And when you are purposely vibrating, because remember, it's a choice to be angry. It's a choice to be happy. So I use that word purposely. When you purposely vibrate with anger and frustration and blame, hatred, or any of those incoherent vibrations, you're actually making yourself sick. And so you may wonder, well, then how is it that little kids get cancer? Well, my brothers and sisters, this vibration doesn't begin right this minute or yesterday. It can begin clear back when you are a fetus, or indeed when you're an embryo or a zygote, even before the embryonic stage. If the vibration in the environment is incoherent when you are developing, you're already vibrating incoherently when you're born. Meaning, could be anything. It could be poisons in the environment that the mother is breathing. It could be fighting in the family. It could be the mother being fearful of losing her home or her family not accepting her because she's pregnant. And that can upset her, and that can make her vibrate incoherently. All of that stress, my brothers and sisters, will make you sick, even in utero. And so, but here's the thing. We cannot blame our parents for your cancer or your autoimmune disease or any of these things, because we don't necessarily understand all these things. I mean, I don't think that we purposely go out to vibrate incoherently and to mess up our children, right? Or, this isn't a purposeful thing because it's subconscious. We don't even realize we're doing it to ourselves. But you can't unknow what you now know. Right, brothers and sisters? You cannot unknow what you now know. When you know better, you do better. And that's what I had to do. Okay? I was born into a family that was vibrating in a very incoherent way. There was a lot of racism. There was alcoholism. There was a lot of blame. There was a lot of fighting. All of that as a child. My very first memories were of my parents fighting when I was really little. I mean, like 2 years old, 3 years old. I remember horrendous fights. Those are my very first memories. So of course I would later grow up to have autoimmune disease and osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis and liver disease. And the thing is, you have to learn to stop making that list and checking it twice. Because believe me, it's not nice. You gotta let it go and learn to love your avatar. Because when you learn to love it and realize what a miraculous thing this is. See, Honu? I actually meditate with a sea turtle. She helps me. She came to me in a dream. I highly recommend checking out that video I made about my sea turtle, Honu. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what you use to achieve the same results, which is, right, you want to heal your body. You can use anything you want. Religious people use Jesus. That part actually isn't what matters. What matters is that you fall in love with life. That you're happy and you're vibrating coherently. Because that's what the language of the universe is. I was born in the 60s, okay? And, the meme of the 1960s, the hippies, right? Peace, love, make love, not war. All of those memes, we laugh about it. But you know what? John Lennon and all those guys had it right the whole time, didn't they? That's what makes us healthy. And Newton, good old Newtonian law, taught us everything was measurable and linear, and those physics that arrived because of that science was wonderful in some ways, but awful in other ways, because it allowed us to forget all about the other world, the vibrational world. And then things like pharmaceuticals arose and other things that we're trying to correct chemically rather than vibrationally. We've got it all backwards. you correct the vibration, then the chemicals in your body get straightened out. If you just correct the chemicals with pharmaceuticals, with pills, and in my case, geez, they had me injecting myself, and that didn't work at all. In fact, my symptoms got worse. Then they wanted to try other ones. They were exploring other things. And that really messed up my immune system. You see, we're not supposed to be messing with these systems chemically. Come to find out, if we were to study the Eastern way of life, you know, the yogis and the ancient ways, ancient man knew all about this the whole time. If you study those ways a little bit, you'll realize you don't need medicine. You have all those pharmaceuticals. You have all of that medicine already located in all of the glands in your body. And you can release them at will by the way you vibrate, by the way you choose to interpret things, by the way you vibrate. You vibrate with happiness? Or do you vibrate with blame and guilt and shame and poor me? It's how you interpret your environment. This is why twins can grow up in the same household, and one twin ends up with cancer and dies 20 years younger than the other one. One interpreted their environment differently than the other. I tell you the story about the two grandmothers, right? I have two grandmothers. They've both passed on now. One lived a good 20 years longer than the other one, and she clearly vibrated differently. She was a happy woman. She walked around with her chin up and a smile on her face everywhere she went. She just loved life and everyone and everything. She was healthy as a horse, clear up into her 90s. She was exercising and smelling the flowers in her garden. And my other grandmother, my father's side of the family, chose to vibrate a much different way. They chose to talk about, their arthritis and how they had this and that ordeal today. And oh my goodness, had to switch doctors again. And you wouldn't believe the prescription I have now. That was their conversation day to day. You see how that makes you vibrate already differently? Just the words you use. Just the thoughts you're entertaining every day. Do you walk around and look at the sky and say, my God, that's beautiful. I am so lucky to be alive? Or are you like my other grandmother and walk around and say, oh, geez, let me tell you all about this pain today. No, sit down. You need to hear all about it. We've got to go over it again. Those are old tapes, and they're programmed. It's just like a tape, and you play it over and over and over, and it's hardwired. Literally, the neurons are hardwired with those old tapes, and you have to start pruning them and thinking different thoughts. And you got to do it on purpose at first. And after a while, it'll just be like riding a bike. You won't even think about it. It'll just be easy to do. But you got to start somewhere. Every time you have an icky thought about entertaining those symptoms, you got to catch yourself and say, notice it. For example, I had horrible rheumatoid arthritis in my hands. I couldn't even do this or do this or hold a pen or write my name or any of that stuff several months ago. It's been almost a year now, I guess. I can do this now, but that required meditation. And what I would do is get real happy and grateful. Hang on to it. Hold it close to my heart. Notice how I'm saying it? I'm the observer now. So you have to become the observer. Watch your avatar. You're the CEO of it. It doesn't belong to you. It's on loan. You get to use it and use the senses that it comes with. Sure, that means your sight, your taste, sense of hearing, all of your sense of touch, your feelings. But we know you only use like 1% of the senses that your avatar comes with. All you got to do is upgrade your software, and then you can start using a whole lot of other senses you didn't realize you even had. And that's where meditation comes in. Practice meditation, you can start expanding these other senses that your avatar came with. The more you do that, the more you fall in love with it, the more wonderment you get out of it, which begets more love for it. And you just keep observing it. You can't believe it. It's wild. And then you have all these really cool synchronicities that begin to happen. Wonderful things that, people will say, that's just a coincidence. But when you start messing with the quantum field like this in a loving, grateful way, mark my words, really strange and wonderful things will begin to happen. Because it's the law of the universe. It just is. You start vibrating on a loving, kind way. And that means towards yourself, not just others. You start doing that, my brothers and sisters, and wonderful coincidences, synchronicities, all of those things, good luck, whatever else you want to call it, it all starts happening, and you will see it. Make a note of it. Don't let it just pass you by. Make a note of it and start realizing that it really does mean something. It's really there. Just like my little hummingbird that shows up at the window every single day. Lots of little synchronicities that happen in your life that are just wonderful. Give it a try. Love your avatar. Fall in love with life. Fall in love with your avatar. That automatically makes you want to take care of it more, which then turns into better health. But literally, when you vibrate with love and gratitude, your cells can then begin to heal and repair and rejuvenate. If you're vibrating with frustration and hatred, or, you're scared, or any of those negative, we call negative vibrations, and you're carrying those around with you all day, or in your meditations, or in your dreams. You got to get a harness on this stuff, people. When you are in a stressed state, your cells stop functioning. They are in what we call fight or flight state. And when your cells are in that state, your system's shut down, right? They're ready to do what they need to do to survive. They're not in a state to rejuvenate and to heal. When you get straight with your thoughts, you love your avatar, you realize what a wonderful gift it is and that you've been given, a whole new world will open up to you. Don't fret about the number of breaths you have to take in a meditation or how many minutes. It's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about, do you love yourself? Do you love life? Do you get it that this avatar of yours is so wonderful that you barely use 1% of it? There's so many cool abilities that you have. Start practicing meditation, and a lot of these things will just be shown to you. That's the neat thing about meditation. You'll have really cool things that'll just pop into your head. Or with me, I hear things. I'll have things whispered to me. I love my Hono. The universe will show you things. You have to just relax and let it happen. You can't force it. Hey, shout out to all of my subscribers. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Also, click that bell icon so you can be sure and have that notification when my next video uploads. Thanks so much. That's Groovy.